Yesterday, the Florida jury convicted Daisy Link of second-degree murder. Let's talk about why. Here's what we're talking about today. Before we actually get to the issues that I want to discuss, I want to go through a concise rundown of the facts and key evidence that prosecutors used against Daisy Link in the Miami-Dade case for any of you who may not be familiar with it up front. Pedro Jimenez was shot and killed on June 25, 2022, outside Link's Homestead, Florida home. Link admitted she fired a single shot, but testified it was to scare Jimenez after years of alleged abuse. The bullet struck his foot and entered his other thigh, severing his femoral artery, which caused his death. The state's theory was that it was not self-defense, that she acted out of rage and shot Jimenez while he was running away, undermining a self-defense claim. And obviously, when someone's running away, they are not a threat to you. And then there were contradictory recordings. Jurors were shown police body camera audio that, per reporters, contradicted Link's initial account that she merely found Jimenez injured, supporting the state's claim that she tried to mislead the investigators. So that's where we are. In any case where you have self-defense, somebody has to make the case for that self-defense. Usually it's the person who did the self-defending. And usually that means you have to get up on the stand and tell what happened. That's a difficult situation to put a defense attorney in, because his natural inclination always is to not have the client testify, because almost inevitably people say things that are either wrong or stupid, or essentially they admit guilt at some point. So you look at the case of Alex Murdaugh and his decision to testify in his own defense in that case is probably what cost him being convicted. And I suspect in this case, it had the same effect. Let me point out a couple of things that she said in her direct testimony and in her cross-examination that I think probably contributed to her being found guilty.
Why did you agree to be in the same place with the person who had just done that to you?
He was already sober. Like, I wasn't scared of him when he was sober. It was when he was a monster on drugs that I was scared. When he was on drugs, he was a monster.
When he pistol whipped you, as far as you know, was he on drugs?
Yeah. Yes, he was.
When you spoke to him after that, a couple days after that, and you said that he apologized to you, he did, as far as you know, he was not on drugs. Is that correct?
At that point in time, no, because his parents didn't allow that in their house. So when he would go over there, basically, he was clean.
And can you tell us or explain to us why you wouldn't have just called the police as soon as he did that to you?
I couldn't. That's one, he would have gotten deported. Two, he wasn't allowed to be with the kids at all by himself, or when his mom wasn't around. I would have gotten the kids taken away.
Now, that testimony was designed to show how much empathy she had for him and how he was only a monster when he was on drugs. Now we learn that he was an illegal immigrant, and that if she had called the police, well, he might have been deported, and worse, her children might have been taken away from her because he was violating an order of protection, and she facilitated him violating that order of protection. You have to wonder, I mean, I understand that people who are in a situation where they're being abused sometimes don't act rationally, but this is one of those situations where if you're going to take and claim self-defense, you pretty much have to have clean hands, and it's obvious that she doesn't have particularly clean hands here. Now we get to the pistol whipping part of this, and there are some issues with her testimony here too, which we'll discuss in just a second.
Pedro arrives. Does he see, as far as you know, does he see David there?
When I opened the door, he seen me and David.
And what happens when he sees that?
There was just a glare from me to David, back to me, and from there he pulled out a gun.
Pulled out a gun?
Yeah.
Pedro pulled out a gun, and what did he do after he pulled out the gun?
Initially he charged at me with the gun, and he hit me once with it, but me and David began to wrestle the gun off of him.
Were you able to take the gun from him?
I did.
Right. When you took it from him, what happened?
From there, I pointed it at him, and I guess our fingers were kind of intertwined. Because if not, I probably would have taken it. He ended up getting it back from me.
Pedro got the gun back?
Yeah.
What if anything did Pedro do once he got the gun back from you?
He pointed it at me, so I ran towards the front door, and I heard a bullet. Well, I heard it dislodge. So
he fired the gun at you?
He fired it at me. I'm not sure where he fired it at, whether it was through the door or through, I'm not sure. But I did hear it go off. So I ran out the door and I fell because the house is elevated. There's steps to go up. So I fell and I hit the ground. And from there.
So I just want to clarify, did you run out one of the doors?
Yes, the front
outside?
door. It started from the back of the house. And from the back of the house is the kitchen. And then there's the living room. And then there's the front door. So
did you trip and fall outside the house or inside the house?
I fell outside.
What happened after you fell?
From there, he jumped over the ledge.
When you say he, who are you talking about?
Pedro.
Okay, he jumped over?
He jumped over the ledge and he pinned my arms down with his legs. And he began to bludgeon me with the pistol, with the metal end of the pistol.
Now, all of that testimony was designed to generate some sympathy with the jury. Here's this poor girl, and she's being bludgeoned. The only problem with her recitation of events is there is absolutely no evidence that he fired a bullet at her because no bullet was found in the house. Otherwise, it would have been their exhibit number one. And she even admits she didn't know where he fired the gun at. So there are some problems with her recitation of the events, but again, this is all meant to sort of get some sympathy on her side so that she can convince the jury that what she did was, just an accident, the right thing to do. She was trying to get rid of him. She was trying to scare him. And again, as I've said dozens of times on this channel, you don't scare people with firearms. If you have to use a firearm, you use it to stop the attack, and that's the only possible use of a firearm in that situation. If you have to pull the trigger, it better be for a lawful reason, otherwise you're going to be in Daisy Link's situation. So this part, I think they were trying to help the case, but when the cross-examination came up, there were some real problems for Daisy Link.
Last left off with the last incorrect examination of Ms. Link, and now the state will now have an opportunity to cross-examine.
Hi, Ms. Link. How are you?
Okay.
I just want to get a couple things clear real quick. Pedro had committed acts of domestic violence against you in the past, right?
Yes.
And you him?
Yes.
Now, I know you said that you had to change the lock because of Pedro, right?
Yes.
He never had a key.
So the old one.
Right, but after all that went down, he never had a key.
No.
The night that he died, he didn't have a key either, right?
I don't know.
Did you ever give him a key?
Not to the house, no.
Okay, so he never had a key the night that he died.
Maybe his car keys or the house keys to the house in Florida City.
To your house, the keys that you changed, she never had a key to your house.
No.
And your mom testified earlier, right?
Yes.
And she said she actually saw him choke you.
Yes.
She actually saw him put his hands around your neck,
Yes.
and she didn't call the police.
No. That's why she kept getting tired.
You're gonna have to keep your voice up, I can barely hear. The answer was,
No. That's why she kept getting tired of it.
She saw her daughter, get choked, and she never called the police.
No.
Your children were home, right?
Yes.
Her grandchildren were home, right?
Yes.
She could have taken those children out of such a dangerous living condition, right?
Yes.
And she didn't, right?
The prosecution here is using her actions and the actions of her family to explain to the jury how none of this adds up. If this guy was as bad, as dangerous, as violent as you say he is, then, again, why didn't you call the police? Because he was going to get deported? I would think at this point you would want to have him deported. But, again, one of the problems here is that she wants to have a father for her children. And I guess I can understand that, but I would think that you just have to make do with letters being written from wherever he was deported to, because it makes a lot more sense to me to get rid of this fellow. So if I'm reacting this way, and I like to think that I'm fairly typical of most people, I would think that as the jury, they're wondering what's going on in that brain of hers that she thinks this is the right way to handle this problem. And that's the approach that the prosecutor is taking here. But it does get better.
You waited a minute to call 911, right?
I didn't wait.
There was a 10-minute delay, right?
I'm not sure exactly how long it was.
And we just waited a minute, and you waited 10 of those before 911 was called, right?
I don't know how long it was.
You lied to the 911 operator about who you were, though, right?
I did.
About how old Pedro was?
Yes.
You lied about who he was,
Yes.
and you lied about what happened, right?
I did.
In every initial interview I ever did with a client, I said, you can't lie to me. You have to tell me the truth. You have to tell me the whole truth. Even if you think it hurts your case, you have to tell me the truth. You can't lie to me, because if you lie to me, I can't help you. You see, I can always explain the truth, but I can't explain a lie. In spite of this, probably 60% of the clients that I interviewed would say something that was deliberately false. And when it would later come out, they'd go, well, I just didn't think they'd find that. Well, anything that's of record, like, I don't know, a conviction for marijuana possession, anything like that is going to be able to be found. And you're going to get impeached with it. And it's going to look really bad. And it's going to make the jury feel like you're a liar. And indeed, you are a liar because you lied about that. So, again, I'm sure that her lawyer sat down with her and said, look, you can't lie about any of this. And when they ask you if you've lied before, you have to tell the truth. So, yeah, she admits that she tells the truth, and that's a good thing to a certain extent. But then, essentially, she just destroys her entire case. Or I should say, the prosecutor, with tightly crafted, very well defined, leading questions, gets her to admit step by step that she lied and she lied and she lied and she lied. And when you add that on top of this doesn't make sense and that doesn't make sense, and why were you shooting at him when he was running away? How could you be scared of a man who's running away? All of those things point to the fact that maybe her story is not quite as believable as you think it is. Because, it certainly could be that she fell and hit her head and decided, hey, this is a great opportunity to use this to get old Pedro out of the picture. Now, I'm not saying that's what she did, but you have to remember that this is a woman who actually got pregnant in jail while she was waiting to, to testify in this case or to be tried in this case. She did that so that she could essentially use that to maybe get off, maybe make the prosecution back off or whatever. Surely you're not going to, make a pregnant woman sit up there and be put on trial. But that didn't work for her then. And, lies almost never work. Sooner or later, they are going to be found out. And when they are found out, again, there's just no reasonable way to explain that. And that's, in short, why the jury convicted Daisy Link.
All right, Ms. Link. The state of Florida versus Daisy Link, case number F2211523. Verdict, we the jury in Miami-Dade County, Florida, find the defendant, Daisy Link, as to count 1, second-degree murder, guilty of second-degree murder. If you find the defendant guilty of second-degree murder, you must answer each of the following questions. Number 1, did the defendant actually possess a firearm during the commission of the crime? Yes. Number 2, did the defendant discharge a firearm during the commission of the crime? Yes. 3, did the defendant discharge a firearm causing death during the commission of the crime? Yes. So say we all, the 16th day of October 2025, signed by the foreperson. All right, Mary Lise.
And like I said, I can explain the truth. I can't explain the lie. And neither could Daisy Link's attorney. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here today. If you have the opportunity today, try to do one kind thing to help somebody else. Any kind thing will do. Buy somebody a Coke. Get them a cup of coffee. Anything that makes their day better. That would be a way to help make the world a better place. Because after all, isn't that what we're all after? Now, YouTube has a few things that they think you might be interested in, and they're going to be showing you that right up there.